Welcome to Bringing the Soul to AI with Michelle Pascal. In a world ruled by speed and screens, we pause to remember the soul. AI may be smart, but it can't bring peace. It can't calm the heart. It can't awaken divine intelligence. Michelle Pascal is your guide, spiritual leader, global healer, the voice known as medicine. He brings stillness to stress and soul to the screen. We'll explore what truly matters: overthinking, burnout, emotional overload, and the sacred tools to heal. Stillness, service, the sacred pause. This is not escape, it's a return to presence, to purpose, to the power within. This is Bringing the Soul to AI, and the journey begins now.
Thank you, Junior. Thank you, John. Thank you, Shana. Thank you, Suzette. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you to each of you, and also all the other people who will see the replay. So I am very, very happy to start this course about the divine intelligence, because we really need this intelligence. The course that we will develop, it's how can we move from the AI, the artificial intelligence, to the DI, the divine intelligence. So what does it mean? What means the divine intelligence? It's an intelligence grander than ourselves. It's an intelligence grander than any artificial or human intelligence. And as you know, artificial intelligence is created by human people. As my friend Deepak Chopra explained all the time, he says artificial intelligence, it's an amazing encyclopedia that we can check every second. But this encyclopedia is made by human beings. So artificial intelligence, it's still human in reality. So what means the divine intelligence? 4 things. First, the divine intelligence, it's an intelligence that we are unable to understand. It's an intelligence that we cannot understand. I give you an example immediately. When you see the network of the trees in a wood, maybe you don't know, but when a tree is sick in a wood, the other trees, they bring water to the tree who is sick. There is a network between the trees, between the roots. There is empathy between the trees. But of course, no scientist, no human being is able to understand that there is an intelligence between the trees. Second point, it's, of course, it's an invisible intelligence. It's an intelligence that we cannot see. I can give you another example. When you see how dolphins communicate in the ocean, they have a sort of sonar, like a radar, you know, but we cannot see that. This is absolutely genius, this communication. The third thing, it's an intelligence who knows us better than us. It's an intelligence who knows us better than us. I can give you another example, very special. You know, in Tibetan Buddhism, most of the Lama, the high Tibetan master, they know the date of their death. Yes, they know the day when they will die. And they prepare all their life for that. How they know? No one knows. This is a divine intelligence. They cannot explain. They cannot analyze. They cannot conceive. But they feel. They know the date of their death. The fourth point, the divine intelligence, it's free. It's a free intelligence. It's free. We can subscribe immediately. We can update immediately. It's totally free. So how to be connected to this intelligence that we cannot understand? This intelligence that we cannot see? This intelligence who knows us better than us? This free intelligence. We can be connected to this intelligence when we calm the mind. At the second you calm the mind, you can feel this intelligence that you cannot understand. This intelligence who knows you better than yourself. And in our course, each week I will develop a specific topic about this divine intelligence. Today I have chosen to develop what we name in neuroscience the precognition. Precognition means premonitions. Premonitions, it's a fantastic example of divine intelligence. We feel something, we receive a message, we receive a guidance, we receive some things that we cannot understand. And I say that to you because I have worked a lot about the precognition, the premonition. I have worked a lot about a topic very well known about premonition, the Titanic. You know, the famous ship who sank in the ocean in 1912. You must know that about the Titanic with historian, scientist, specialist of Titanic, we found around 50, 60 true premonitions stories. When I say premonitions with proof, it's not a premonition after the crash. It's a premonition, a precognition before the crash. And this premonition, each of them were written in a book, in a newspaper, in a paper book, or it was deposited in a psychological circle in London. So we have the proof that people have the vision, the precognition, the premonition of the crash of the Titanic. So to study this premonition in our course today, it's a fantastic example of the divine intelligence. So for the Titanic, just to introduce me about that, and if you Google me, you can find I am a specialist of the Titanic in the world. I have published 3 books about the Titanic. I have directed 4 documentaries for the French TV about the Titanic. And one of my best friends was Paul-Henri Nargelet, Captain Nargelet, Mr. Titanic. And Paul-Henri Nargelet, maybe you know, but he died in the Titan, the submarine, for Ocean 11. Thank you, Junior. We see all my books about the Titanic. You are amazing. You are faster than the divine intelligence, Junior. So Paul-Henri Nargelet was a very, very good friend during 30 years. And since I was a child, I was fascinated by the story of the Titanic, but especially by the premonitions. Let me give you an example. I will share with you, so one of the premonition, the most spectacular that we know, and we have the proof about the Titanic. Premonition, precognition, again, divine intelligence. That's suddenly, again, you remember what we say, Divine intelligence, it's an intelligence that we don't understand. When I say we don't understand, it's interesting. In neuroscience, according what my friend neuroscientist explained to me, there is no research about premonition. We don't know exactly how does it work in the brain. Just we know psychologically, we have proof, we have people, it's real, they are not crazy, they write, we have proof. And all my work about the premonition was a work very rational. I say that because in America, every day I meet someone saying to me, I am a shaman, I am a healer, I am this reincarnation, etc. As you know, when we have the blessing to have a monastic life, and it was my case, we don't believe in that 1 second. It doesn't work like that. So let's go about the premonition. Fantastic example of divine intelligence. Suddenly, wow. In 25 years before the story of the Titanic, so 25 years, it's very ancient, it's 1886. So before, you understand, Titanic, it's 1912. So before the idea to build the Titanic, Titanic was built in 1905, and in 1886, there is someone in London, his name is Stead, William Stead, and William Stead was a journalist in his time. He was a very famous journalist. He was writing in a newspaper. The name was the Pall Mall Gazette. And William Stead was a journalist. We wanted, he write a lot of articles. And in 1886, he make a dream extremely clear that a big ship, as we have never seen, gigantic ship will crash in the middle of the ocean because, and many people will die. Oh, this is Stead Jr., you are amazing. Oh my gosh, this is this guy, William Stead Jr., thank you. Wow. So he explains that many people will die in this crash because there is not enough lifeboats. And he says this is exactly what could happen because the vanity of the human beings. You know, it is the time in 1886, this is the beginning of New York. This is the beginning of the materialistic world. So people want to build huge ship and huge buildings in New York. Soon it will be the beginning of the Empire State Building, etc. So Stead say we are crazy. We are crazy to build big buildings, big ships. We don't respect Mother Nature. And if we keep going on to be like that, a crash will happen. So it is fascinating that William Stead in 1886 has this vision, this precognition, again, as we say in neuroscience, these premonitions. We are really in the case of a divine intelligence, something that we cannot explain, we cannot analyze. So Stead writes his dream. He writes an article, and in his article, he precises his premonition. He precises a lot of people will die in the middle of the ocean because there is not enough lifeboats. He precises, Stead also, that it's because the vanity, the ego of the human being. And he published his article in 1886. When he published his article, many people say this guy is totally crazy. There is no sense to think like him. And people don't believe him. Alors, again, historically, 1886, we enter in the beginning of the materialistic time of our time. We want to build bigger, bigger, grander and grander. So Steed write his article, publish his article if you make research, and exactly as Junior is doing now. Junior, thank you so much. You are really an amazing historian. Junior found immediately the article. You have the proof of what I explained to you. So after, in 1892, he has a second premonition. A premonition who is more precise than the first one. And he gave two things in his premonition. He gave the cause of the crash. He said it will be an iceberg. A gigantic ship will crash on an iceberg. And he gives also the name of the captain of this ship. In his dream, he visualized the name of Captain Smith. You have understood. He gave the cause of the crash, the iceberg, the name of the captain, Captain Smith, and he described many people are dying in a terrible situation because there is not enough lifeboats. He published his article so in the Review of Reviews. It's another magazine in his time. When he published his article, his second article, people say, this guy still is crazy. He's totally crazy. It's impossible. And it's very interesting to see that one of the causes of the death of many people on the Titanic, this is the fact that there is not enough lifeboats. Because when they built the Titanic, at the beginning, there is enough lifeboats for everyone. But the publicist of the company, Mr. Bruce Ismay, decided to cut. He decided to have less lifeboats because he said, I want that the people of the first class, they can enjoy more the views. These lifeboats are not good for the first class, for the most rich people. So they decide to don't put a lot of lifeboats. And it's one of the causes of the death of many people. Because if there is enough lifeboats, as it was at the beginning, people can survive on the Titanic. So Steed, when he published his article, everyone in his time say, oh, Steed is crazy, it's impossible. And especially when they built the Titanic, because as you know, the slogan, the pitch of the Titanic, it's, we are unsinkable. We cannot sink. Just to be precise about that, Andrews, the architect who built the Titanic, when he came at the White Star Line, the company, the Cunard today, to present the Titanic, he says the Titanic is near insinkable. Near insinkable. But the publicist of the Titanic, Bruce Ismay, erases near and he keeps unsinkable. So all the campaign of the Titanic was built on this speech, we are unsinkable. To say to someone you are unsinkable on the Titanic, it's to say you are immortal. You cannot die. They teach exactly the heart of the subconscious of the customers of the Titanic. You cannot sink, you cannot die. So Steed decided to go on the Titanic to check if his premonitions are real or wrong. So it's fascinating when we enter in this moment because you can see there is all times a debate between our rational intelligence and the divine intelligence. So, what you say, Shani, let me reply to you, Shona. Yes. I will reply to your question. I finish in 2-3 minutes, and I want to reply to you, Shona, and Elizabeth the same, and Suzette the same, if you have questions. So Steed decide to go on the Titanic to double check if it's real, yes or no. We know exactly what was the life of Steed on the Titanic by the testimonial of the survivors. So when Steed was on the Titanic, he has nightmares every night. And he was screaming in his room, and his neighbors were very scared by this guy. And he said, we will die. He was like possessed by this divine intelligence, as this message that he cannot explain, that the Titanic will crash an iceberg. And everyone, of course, on the Titanic say, we cannot crash an iceberg, we are unsinkable. I want to precise something very important. You know, for the Titanic, there is an insurance contract. And before the crash between the Titanic and the iceberg, on the road that take the Titanic, we saw only 3 times some iceberg. On 80,000 travels between Europe and New York, we saw only 13 icebergs. So the probability that the Titanic can crash an iceberg by the insurance was 1 on 1 million. 1 chance on 1 million to crash an iceberg. So when Steed is in the Titanic, he is full of fears, etc., and Steed will die on the Titanic with his premonitions in his hand. So this is a perfect example of the divine intelligence. Alors, of course, we are so stupid, especially today, and we need a lot of divine intelligence. So I want to go to your question and to reply with you. But this is interesting. We are in the perfect case of a divine intelligence. You remember, again, it's an intelligence that we don't understand. It's invisible. It's free. And it's an intelligence who knows us better than us. So first, Shona, yes. And Elizabeth, yes. The ego. The ego is the iceberg of our time. The ego. Our ignorance is the iceberg of our time. Because we want to be God. We want to possess all. We want to explain all. But again, when you see, for example, in your room where you are today, 90% of what you see is invisible. It's invisible. That I say, it's what can explain any astrophysician to each of us. All what we see, 90% is invisible. 90% invisible. But we want to explain all. We want to possess all. So, of course, when I see your message, Shona, Elizabeth, and when I feel you, Suzette, and other people, I am very touched that you come to our class, because the goal of our class is to help us to be more intelligent, to realize that there is an intelligence that we cannot name, that we cannot conceive, but an intelligence who guides us all the time. This is the reason why divine intelligence is after artificial intelligence. I will say there is first the human intelligence. There is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, and I love the Institute of Air. It's genius because, for example, the artificial intelligence can help us to cure some sickness. The artificial intelligence can help us in many domains, in science, in medicine, in many things. But there is another intelligence, the divine intelligence. And the premonition of the Titanic, I have just told you one story, but imagine we have around 50, 60 stories like that. My friend, Captain Nargelet, when he passed away in the Titan, in the submarine of Ocean Gates, I know very well the last person that he called on the phone before to enter in the submarine. And he said to this person, I have a doubt. I don't feel confident to enter in this submarine, but I go. But it will be okay. But he said to this person, a very good friend of him, I don't feel confident. I don't trust this new technology. So what is very interesting is the divine intelligence that most of time we reject. We neglect. We reject as we neglect our soul. We reject God. We reject the divine word. Again, we want to control everything. We want to say, I am the king. We know nothing in reality. In reality, we know nothing. So again, the more we calm the mind, the more you can feel the divine intelligence, the message that you receive every second. The divine intelligence is all time present, like the invisible world is all time present around us. But it's because we cannot see with our eyes that we don't consider the invisible world. But imagine 1 second, if you have a microscope subatomic in your room where you are at this moment, you will see billions particles subatomic floating around you. Imagine if this microscope subatomic, you zoom in your hand, in your skin, you will realize your body is not solid. Your body is fluid. Everything is fluid. Nothing is solid. Our emotions, for example, are not solid. They are fluid. Nothing has consistency. It's an illusion of our brain. For example, if you improve sadness or depression or for anxiety, it's very important to realize that every of these emotions have no consistency. They are just fluid. It's the same when you look at the walls around you. Look at the walls around you. Again, if you have a microscope subatomic, you will see the walls are not solid. The walls are fluid. It's moving. It's a moving magma all the time. We, each of us, we are not a person. We are a cosmos. And we are all interconnected with the divine intelligence. You know, it's interesting when you ask to someone, who are you? Who are you? Shona, who are you? Suzette, who are you? Elizabeth, who are you? Most of the time, if I ask this question to you, you say to me, oh, me, I am a teacher. I am a yoga teacher. Elizabeth is an amazing yoga master, more than a teacher. She is a master. She was my teacher in yoga. So we can, first we explain ourselves with our social condition. I am a doctor, I am a teacher, I am a prisoner, or I am a chef, I am a musician. We give the title, the social title. But if we go deeper, who are you beyond that? Most of the time we reply, I am the daughter of my parents. Okay, I am the daughter of my parents. But who are you beyond that? But my parents are the children of their parents. And we have what we name, you know, the transgeneration in the psychology. You know, there is the DNA. we have the skin, the eyes of our ancestors, but we have also their psychological DNA. So, for example, if someone has a PTSD 3 generations before us, we can have this PTSD today that we don't understand. And if we go deeper, okay, but beyond your generations, beyond your old grandparents, who are you? We are an energy. We have the past lives. You know, it's important in Tibetan Buddhism. The past lives means the memory of the energy. All is energy. The water has an energy. This computer is an energy. This microphone, everything is energy. So every energy has a memory, and the memory has a memory has a memory. So let's go deeper. Who are you beyond your ancestor? Hello, John. Beyond your intelligence, beyond your past lives, who are you exactly? The answer is I am made of elements. I am earth, I am fire, I am water, I am made of elements. So we are made of cosmos. We are made of elements. And as we say in Tibetan Buddhism, our organs are our planets. There is the planet of my heart. It's like the sun in the universe. Without my heart, I cannot talk to you. We cannot, the sun, we cannot live. So our organs are our planet. We are a cosmos. So the divine intelligence, this is the intelligence who animate any atoms of the universe. The intelligence who lives inside of us. But of course, again, when we are stressed, we forget all. We don't understand. This conversation has no sense. When we are stressed, we have no mind. When we are stressed, you know, in Tibetan Buddhism, we talk about the experience of the death, alive. This is the experience of the death, alive. We exist, we do many things, we go on our computer, we click on our phone, we go to a restaurant, we take a shower, we go to a holiday. We exist. We have activities after activities, but we are never alive. We are never present. We become alive, we become present when we calm the mind. And when you calm the mind, you can feel the divine intelligence. I want to give you an example, very interesting, between AI and DI. For example, if we are sick physically, it's very interesting to use AI because AI can give good advices. I give a funny example. I was sick a few weeks ago with a food poison. I use artificial intelligence and I say, oh, for the first time, can you help me? What could be a plan, a diet plan to help me during 3 days? Really, my friend, I say AI is genius. They make an amazing plan to give me a diet during 3 days. And after the 3 days, I was totally fine. And I say, thank you, artificial intelligence. And they are very polite, they are very kind, so they reply, oh, thank you, Michel, anytime. You know, artificial intelligence, it's funny. They are very kind. But when I calm my mind, I realize something deeper than that. I was sick physically, not from a food poison, but from something in my mind who has affected me. And I use some special Tibetan practices to detox spiritually this bad energy that I have received. So you see how AI can be complementary to DI, the divine intelligence. And again, when you calm your mind, you are connected to the divine intelligence. An intelligence who knows you better than us. In the story of the premonition, it's fascinating in the precognition that Steed and many people on the Titanic receive message, don't go on this ship. You know, the owner of the company of the White Star Line, of the Titanic, he has lived this experience himself. Lord Perry was the director of the White Star Line, the Cunard today. In Southampton, he has a Rolls Royce. It was very rare in 1912 to have a Rolls, a car. And there is a crane who brought his car on the Titanic. And when the crane brought his car, suddenly he has a premonition. He said, no, I don't go. Bring back my car. Everyone say, what? The director of the company of the Titanic refused to go on the ship. And Lord Perry explained after, he has a big flash, a precognition, a premonition. So he took his car and he drives during few days. And he didn't want to stay in Southampton, like he wanted to be far from the Titanic. You know, there is also other stories about precognition, premonition for September 11. And you know, when you study that, it's very interesting. Not when people say, oh, I have a dream, after, I mean before. And when the person writes the dream, when we are sure that it's a real premonition. So I want again to say to you, oh, Elizabeth, it's beautiful what you write. My intuition has never failed me. It has failed when I'm in your hint. This is so true. Each of us, we have premonition, precognition. Each of us, we have divine intelligence. But we suffer. We fail, as you say, Elizabeth, me too, when we refuse. I don't care. I don't want to pay attention. But when you calm the mind, when you pay attention, you can make better decisions in your life. When you calm your mind, when you listen to the divine intelligence, you can find the genius idea of your life. It's interesting to see that many people lose their job. But suddenly, in the calm, a divine idea can appear. The genius idea to rebuild your life. The idea that you were not expected to know. So, Shona, I love what you write. You are so sweet, my friend. So, how to listen more? This is the question of our course. And I am very grateful to John and to Junior and to their fantastic institute. How can we listen more the divine intelligence? How can we use artificial intelligence to listen more the divine intelligence? Because it's fantastic. What we use the platform today is created by John and Junior with artificial intelligence. So for me, this course is a fantastic example. We use artificial intelligence to be more intelligent. We use artificial intelligence to be more connected to the divine intelligence. This is genius. This is really genius. So, to finish, let me finish by a mantra to sing for each of you 1 minute meditation to help each of you to calm the mind, to listen your divine intelligence. O mani meum, O mani meum, O mani meum, O mani meum. It's good to calm the mind. I want to give you again my Instagram. Like that we can be connected. Shona, Suzette, each of you can write to me. It's Michel Meditates. I write in the chat. Every day I take a time to reply to every message. It's also a spiritual practice for me to use the technology, to be more present. I want again to say to John, to Junior, to this institute, how this is genius to create a spiritual course. Each week we will have another topic, and next week I will start to develop about money pressure. How can we listen the divine intelligence when we have money pressure? When our life is very under pressure with money. How is it possible to listen the divine intelligence when we have money pressure? So again, I want to say thank you to each of you. Thank you, John. Thank you, Junior. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Shona. Thank you, Jeanette. Oh, many Thank you so much to each of you. See you next Monday at the same time to go deeper and deeper week after week. How can we feel better immediately? How can we use artificial intelligence to be more connected to our soul? It's a revolution, what we talk. How can we use artificial intelligence to be more connected to our soul? To be more connected to the universe? To be more connected to the life inside of us? Because I would like to finish with that. You know, my friends, the only thing that we can be sure, it's we will die. And what's happening when we die? Life never dies. Life never died. Life transforms perpetually, but life never died. How to be connected to the life who never died. How to be more connected to something grander than ourselves. A quality of love that we cannot explain. As I feel at this moment from each of you, I feel your soul, my friends. I feel your soul. You give me tears. I feel your soul. Cannot explain. I don't know why. But this is in the energy. This is so. Our course is very important. I hope to see you Monday. Let's bring many friends. Let's create a huge success with this course. And again, thank you, John. Thank you, Junior. Thank you to your genius institute. All my love to each of you. See you on Instagram.
Welcome to Bringing the Soul to AI with Michelle Pascal. In a world ruled by speed and screens, we pause to remember the soul. AI may be smart, but it can't bring peace. It can't calm the heart. It can't awaken divine intelligence. Michelle Pascal is your guide, spiritual leader, global healer, the voice known as medicine. He brings stillness to stress and soul to the screen. We'll explore what truly matters: overthinking, burnout, emotional overload, and the sacred tools to heal. Stillness, service, the sacred pause. This is not escape, it's a return to presence, to purpose, to the power within. This is Bringing the Soul to AI, and the journey begins now.